Episode 106, Ironman 70.3, Santa Rosa with John Hatala. Welcome to the pursuit of the perfect race. I'm Coach Terry Wilson, and with each episode, I bring stories of athletes to you that share their experiences at races in order for you to learn how to have your perfect race. You will hear stories from athletes of all ages, abilities, and races of all distances. So regardless of where you fit in, there's something in there for you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let the pursuit begin. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the pursuit of the perfect race. Today I have the pleasure of talking to my friend John about his recent race experience at Ironman 70.3 Santa Rosa, where he had a time of 3 hours, 58 minutes, 29 seconds. John's been doing triathlons for many years. This race took place on July 28th, 2018, with the temperature being 52 and rising to 87, and the swim was canceled. Welcome to the show, John. I look forward to hearing about your race experience at Santa Rosa.
Yeah, it was Santa Rosa 68.4 or somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really 70.3, I guess. You're right.
Yeah, it was a very different 70.3 for me because the whole dynamic of that race changed when you do a time trial start, especially when you're starting an hour after the first age grouper. And let's see, they did it by number, and I was number 2820. So I started way behind the pack.
Wow.
There's a lot of people to pass, and a lot of people on the course at one time on the bike and run. So that really changed the dynamic of the course for me. And I'm not really used to racing in traffic like that.
All right. Now, how was the mindset, before we dive too much in, let's just go ahead and, how was your training?
Yeah.
How was your training going into this race?
Oh, good. Probably the strongest I felt on a bike ever. So I knew I had real good biking legs, and the run, neither here nor there. I'm pretty consistently decent on the run. So I was shooting for, in that course, I thought I could probably get away with a 128. I was feeling real good going up into the thing. No injuries, muscles feeling good, healthy, all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Feeling real good.
What was your longest swim, bike, and runs going into this work or going into this race?
My longest swim, it's probably 3,500 meter morning. Not all at once. That was 3 1,000s and a 500. Bike was 86 miles. Run was 13 miles in a very hilly course, a 13-mile run.
Because you're over there in San Diego?
Yeah, and I'm also I could run in some flatter areas like along the coast, but I'm looking down the road at maybe doing some Xterra trail runs. So we got Ogden, down a snow basin ski resort in September, and then Hawaii in December. So I'm kicking around those two races. So they're obviously very hilly. So I'm training for those as well.
Okay. So are you using a certain plan for this race?
I go by the periodization. So I back off about 8 weeks, and I work up and for 4 weeks, then take it easy that fourth week, then go back, keep working it up, take it easy that fourth week. That's my taper week, race on Saturday. So yeah, I use periodization.
Okay. Were you doing a lot of strength training going into this race?
No. The reason I say that is I do my strength training in the off season. When it's in season, I just get so overloaded with stuff. I could burn up pretty quick. If I do strength training and swim, bike, run, I found that, I just put it off anyway. I just get too pooped after working for a long week to do any strength training. But I do it in the off season. I love TRX, and I love that functional type movement. Not so much the weights in the gym, but I like the functional movement.
Okay. Now, going into this race, what kind of nutrition were you using on the bike course?
So my bike course, I'm a big believer in race day nutrition is what you need to be training in. So I was very specific in what I eat and drink on the bike. And that's a great question because that's the fourth part of triathlon, I think, is the nutrition bit. Because you could get tore up. Your gut could get tore up if you start taking the wrong things in. And I learned that. So I use Scratch Labs for to drink. I like the lemons and limes. And then I started getting into Cliff products because that's what they give on a course. And I like those gummy chews. Those, the chews. And those are kind of my rewards after 20 miles. And then I use gels, 3 gels on the bike, and I ended up using 2 on a run. So I consumed a total of 5 gels, 6 chews, 6 of those Cliff chews, and then 2 big water bottles of Scratch, plus some sips from water bottles that they gave out on the course. That was my nutrition. Pretty much took a sip every time on the run course because the race was delayed, so it kind of pushed you later in the afternoon, so it started getting hotter and hotter. I had intended to be done by 11:15, but I was still on the course because of the delays and the time trial start. I was on the course till like 12:45, so it started getting warmer and warmer. So I was a little concerned about being able to get enough fluids in me on a run, especially.
Okay. What was your longest swim, bike, and runs?
So, yeah, the longest swim day was 3,500 meters, and that was 3 1,000s and a 500. That's a long day for me swimming. Bike was 86 miles, and the run was 13 on a hilly course.
Okay. And you're doing a lot of bricks in training?
I do one every other week. Every other week I do actually a double brick. I bike for about an hour, and then run for 20 minutes, bike for an hour, run for 20 minutes in different intensities. But I do those double bricks. They seem to work out pretty good. A good workout, but they seem to work out for me.
Okay. So going into this race, what was your mindset?
My mindset was I was going in. I was still a little upset with 70.3 Utah up at St. George. I flatted and lost 8 minutes repairing a flat. And I think I would have podiumed at that race, but that was kind of a bummer. I knew I had real good legs. I had a real good run there. I was doing great on the bike, but then I flatted. So I was going to Santa Rosa. I wanted to see where I was at. I knew I was doing good on the bike, felt real good on the bike. So I was pretty excited, pretty pumped up. Definitely thought I could podium there. And looking at the course, it looked like a fast course. It looked like, 4:30 is achievable there. But yeah, so I was pretty confident going in.
Okay.
My legs felt good. No muscle cramps or no pulls or tears or anything. So I was feeling pretty good.
Nice. So if we take a look at your training, what was the most hours that you trained in 1 week?
Probably about 24
Really?
1 week. Yeah. That was a couple weeks ago.
Were there any days in your training among these bigger weeks where you just didn't want to train?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are. And, there are some of those days. I don't know. Sometimes you wonder, like, you get these days you're like turned up and you're like, maybe it's God's way telling me to stay off the road. Otherwise I get hit by a car or something. But yeah, I do have those days where it's just, you're looking for an excuse not to train. It's 100 degrees out or something. But, those days are, it's nice to take those days off every once in a while. You can't make it a trend, but every once in a while you just got to listen to your body. Instead of dragging yourself through 10-mile runs or, 60-mile bikes, whatever. You don't train. You're not going to lose 10 minutes in a race.
Right. So whenever you're not training or racing, what are you doing?
So I'm in with the San Diego Mountain Rescue Team.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so I use a lot of those marine skills actually, and spend a lot of time with the team, training or going out and doing ops with them, or do a lot of training with them. And then we're on call 24/7. So we do alpine rescue and any type of rescues where anything from urban search for a dementia patient to mountain alpine type search for whatever. The last one was a plane crash. I had to recover bodies from a plane crash up in Julian.
Oh, wow.
And it's rugged terrain out there, so need certain fitness and skills and whatnot to get over some of that terrain. So the San Diego County Sheriff calls our team and we go out there and do it.
Wow. So pretty demanding job, and you also have a family?
Yeah. I've got a son who's going into college, and my daughter is going into high school this year as a freshman.
Wow.
So,
and I'm sure they take quite a bit of your time too, right?
Yeah, the kids get older and they got their car. It's you're not driving them to practice or anything like that. My son, he's kind of on his own. He's up at a lake with some friends up in the hills. And my daughter, it takes time. She's a very competitive gymnast, so getting her to practice and getting her back, and when they're in session for gymnastics, they're pretty much all over the West Coast for their competitions.
Wow.
So that takes a little time, but that's after getting out of the Marine Corps. I love that time. That's a great time spent being with him. I was riding my bike over Highway 5. Highway 5 goes down the West Coast here. It goes all the way up pretty much San Francisco, Sacramento, all the way down to San Diego. So I was riding my bike over a bridge over Highway 5, and I was like, nice to be on a bike now and not worried about going to work. I don't miss the days. But, so that, and I also like to paint. Not too many people know about my painting, but...
Really? What kind of stuff do you like to paint?
I use oil paint, and I like to paint nature, seascapes, that type of thing.
So do you paint happy little trees?
Yeah, I paint a lot of happy trees. I love going up to the mountains out here, Sierra Nevadas, some of the most beautiful country you'd ever see in your whole life. And not too many people can see it because not too many people can go out there and know about it, or have the stamina to get up, 14,000 feet into some of these mountains. Unbelievably beautiful up there.
And it's untouched too.
Oh yeah. There's not too many people up there, but it's just gorgeous. I love it out there.
Wow.
So I get a lot of inspiration from those mountains and whatnot.
Wow. So, how big of an issue is balancing life, work, training, painting, having time to yourself in nature? How big of an issue is that?
Oh, it's not an issue at all. I'm not, one thing is it becomes an issue. I just cut it out. I mean, I'm living a dream, my friend. All that stuff you just mentioned, I love doing. So, I make it work. I make it balance. And, when I'm in season with triathlon, I'll probably paint less. But there's room for all of it for me. I make time for it.
Right. I feel like being that we were talking a little bit before that we got started here, but being that we were both in the service, and I went to Afghanistan twice, you went to Iraq, and I feel like we have this sense of gratitude about just life in general, where it's okay to be here and doing whatever because we're just alive and being able to do it, and we have that sense of gratitude for it.
Yeah, it's that time you spend being deployed, or even I was in an infantry unit most of my career, and you spend a lot of time away from home, and you can't ride a bike, and you can't really go out and train. You're just gone most of the time, months and months and months of being gone. So, hats off to those military guys that go out and they come back from a deployment or whatever and train up for a couple of weeks and go out and run a run a triathlon. So that's kind of why that military division is good, is because those guys, they spend a lot of time away from home and their bikes and pools and all that stuff. And they're going from home half the time.
Yeah. So going to a little bit of a transition to this actual race. We know you started tapering 7 days before the race. When did you actually start traveling to the race venue?
I drove up there. It's about a 7.5 hour drive. So I left. When did I leave? Thursday morning. Yeah. See, I got to get through LA on a Highway 5. And if you get into LA at the wrong time, you're going to be in LA for a long, long time. So my goal was to get up there through LA by 6. So I left here at 4 in the morning on Thursday, and got up to Santa Rosa Thursday afternoon. Checked in Ironman Village and whatnot.
Okay, how was your check-in process?
Good. It's pretty efficient. There wasn't too many people there by the time I got up there. So yeah, that was pretty smooth. Okay. And my hotel was luckily maybe 2 miles from the venue.
Wow, that's pretty nice. Where did you stay at?
Yeah. America's Best Value Inn.
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of the cheaper ones I could find, but it's a little seedy in that area. But it's walking distance to stores and stuff, so that's fine. Okay.
Now, as far as getting your bike to T2, for those that don't understand this race venue,
the
swim is at Lake Sonoma, which is about 45 to 50 minutes away, depending on traffic, to the north. And then Santa Rosa is actually the place for the run. So it's a split transition race with about 45 to 50 minute drive in between there. So how did you get your bike to T1?
Yeah, so here was my plan. I got up to Ironman Village. I wanted to hear a race brief because I'd never been at that race before. So I just wanted to hear about, I'm glad I went. I wanted to hear about some no passing areas and some of the things that weren't necessarily in the race guide. And there were 2 no passing areas on 1-lane bridges.
Really? Where at?
Yeah, there was one at 10 miles. It was just a small 1-lane bridge, and they didn't want people passing on that. And then there was one at mile 40, I think, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Or somewhere around there. But they're very middle. It took a couple seconds to get across them. And I just wanted to hear about some road conditions and any changes to the race and whatnot. So I went to that at 10 o'clock briefing, and then rode my bike on the run course. So I rode the run course just to kind of get a feel for it. And I like to vision the race. I like to image the entire race through my head. At night, it helps me go to sleep anyway. So I just wanted to get a mental picture of what I was up against. Came back from the bike, threw it in the back of my truck, drove up to T1 and the swim venue. That was nice. Got up there, a lot of people in swimming, and the water was nice. It was 74 or something like that.
Wow.
So I went in there without a wetsuit, just one of those slick suits. I forget what you call them. Just an Xterra. Yeah. I just went in there with the Xterra one. I swam 500-600 meters. And then, I'm glad I did that because the transition from the water up to the T1, those are pretty good.
That's a mountain.
It's all uphill, pretty steep, and it was maybe a quarter mile. So yeah, it was a pretty good hike up there.
Yeah, and usually there's a bridge that you go under on the way up, and that's where the wetsuit strippers normally are.
Yeah, yep, that's where they were.
Right on the concrete. They don't have sand here like Lake Placid.
Yeah, they had they laid down some green carpeting and whatnot under that bridge. They were getting ready to do it there.
Okay.
So that was I dropped my bike off and did the swim, and then drove the course all the way back to Santa Rosa with there's a bunch of people doing it. We were all together. There's probably 4 or 5 different cars going slow. Okay. And again, I like to image that course. I like to image the whole race from the swim start to the finish line in my head.
You're the first person after 100 and something interviews now that has actually talked about envisioning the course and wanting to actually see what it looks like from start to finish along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that really helps me, at least. You've already been there. You know what's going on. It's kind of like reading a history book and then going off to war. You kind of have somewhat of an idea of what's going on. But it takes a lot of anxiety out of the start of a race when you go there and pretty much raced it already 4 times in the last 24 hours.
Right.
And, it helps with that expectation of what's going to be going on race day. So nothing really surprises me on race day.
What were you trying to get as far as food goes?
Chicken Parmesan seems to work good for me.
Okay.
So they had that. There was a nice Italian place. Real nice. Not an extravagant place, kind of in a strip mall, but daggone good food.
Really?
Yeah, it's nice. Nice little place, kind of right on the just east of town.
All right. So, were you trying to get a certain meal in? Is that your like go-to is chicken parmesan?
Yeah, chicken parmesan pasta. Yeah.
All right.
Get some good calories, and pretty much that's it. And then get back that's an early dinner too. I think I ate at 5. Get back and start winding down. I watched the tour. The tour was on at 5, so I watched stage of the Tour de France. That went till 8, and then I think fell asleep after that.
All right. Now, you wake up on race day. What's your race day morning ritual like before you leave the hotel?
So I go to Starbucks and I get a large Americano, bring it home, put it on the counter so I can wake up in the morning, and then I got a large Starbucks Americano there. I also get a Starbucks sandwich. What did I get? Sausage, egg, and cheese on a English muffin or something. So you could buy them uncooked from Starbucks too. So that's my breakfast, coffee and that sandwich. Wake up, got all my stuff laid out, and I'm out of there in a half an hour after eating.
Wow. So are you driving to T2? Are you walking over there? What is that like?
No, so I drove over to a parking area near T2, and the parking was $8 for all day.
That's not bad.
So
no. You just park at the mall?
No, I parked in the area over by the post office, right across from the post office. That way I wouldn't get tangled up in any of the race type stuff, so I could leave parking while the race was still going on.
Right. I feel like that's very important, honestly.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to really worry too much about all of the congestion or road close and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of scouted it out the day before, and I was like, yeah, it's because, I had to leave Sunday morning at, what time? 3:45 is when I left.
Wow, that's early.
On Sunday morning. Yeah, I wanted to get home. So I kind of like to preload stuff Saturday. And so after the race, I went back to the hotel, got a shower and stuff, and then came back to the race, and you all cleaned up.
Okay. So after you get over to the race venue at T2, you hop on the shuttle, and then that takes a little bit. I'm sure there's a little bit of traffic there for the actual shuttles too, right?
Yeah, I got on a pretty early shuttle, so it wasn't bad at all. I mean, we zoomed right up there, got in, it was very efficient. And I was on one of the earlier shuttles. I think they started kicking in at 4:15.
Wow.
So I was there at maybe 4:25, 4:30.
Okay. Did you even bring a wetsuit to this race?
I did. Yeah, I was kicking around. Yeah, I brought a wetsuit. I would have swam in a wetsuit, definitely.
Okay. So now that you're at the actual race venue, you're going over your bike. How does all that look for you?
I'm going over my bike? Or?
Yeah, you're just putting air in your tires, putting your nutrition on your bike. Is everything good? No issues?
Yeah, so I got, the bike was pretty much stripped down. I didn't have anything on it. No computer or, any of that type stuff. So no gel was in the, little pouch. So I put all that stuff loaded up, got it ready to go. I got it into the right gear for just a little hill. at the start. Pretty much got everything set up on a bike, and that was pretty quick. They were very strict about not having anything in transition on the ground. Everything had to be in a bag. Everything. So you couldn't put a towel down, and your shoes, your helmet, everything is in that bag. I guess he just director wanted to keep the transition area clean and not a lot of stuff kicking around.
That makes sense.
Yeah, as long as everybody's doing it, I'm good with it.
Was there a tent there for the 70.3? I know there was for the full.
A tent?
Yeah, for changing, because that would change the layout in my mind, because I was there for the full and volunteered. So I'm assuming they just basically have the same thing. You just run up and your bag is at your bike?
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't have a tent. No.
Okay.
So, the morning, there was just a little anxiety and they were good about keeping us informed. They're like, there's fog out here, and they had published this on their Facebook and whatnot, so it was no surprise that there might be a cancellation. So he's like, well, the fog's still here. We've got 3 options. One is to do the whole swim. 2 is to do a 1,000 meter swim, or 3 is to do no swim and do a time trial start. So those were the 3 options going in. And at the start, I don't know. I was thinking they'd probably do 1,000 meters, but the fog actually got worse.
Really?
Yeah. So what time did the pros go off? The pros went off at like 7:15. So I went down. I had plenty of time. I had like an hour or something. So I just kind of took a walk down to the water. I could not see the first buoy.
Wow.
So the fog was really bad, and it wasn't getting any better. It was actually getting worse. And the kayakers, he said, went out there and got lost. They had to, find their way back.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was
kayaker actually got lost.
Yeah. So it was real bad. There was no doubt they should have canceled the swim. But at what time? 6-ish. He said, "Okay, we're not going to full swim. So we will either do the 1,000 meter swim, or we will do no swim at all. We'll keep you posted." So original start time was 6:30, so they delayed the start time to whenever. I'm not sure. To hopefully get some improvement in the weather. And then finally they called it, and they said, "Hey, we're not going to do any swim. Go put your swim stuff away. Be ready to do a time trial start. We're starting with the pros and then working up from number whatever to 3,000.
Wow. And you're almost right at the very end.
Yeah. So that whole numbering thing became an issue because of this. This all-world athlete thing, are you familiar with the AWA silver, bronze, gold?
Yeah, basically you get a higher number if you're AWA.
Yeah, so...
a lower number.
Lower. So those guys were all, like my age group was 2,800 to 2,900, something. Those guys were all number like 300.
Wow.
So they got out on a course, a very clean course. It's all part of it. And that was one benefit of being one of those AWA guys. They got in, had a clean course, and they got off the course before it got real hot.
Right. So what were you doing with your phone for the actual race?
What was I doing with my phone?
Yeah, you had to do something with your phone. You couldn't carry it on the bike ride, could you?
Oh, no. It was in my car. I left it in my car.
Okay, so you didn't have anything then?
No. So, during the race, I even just hid my key in my car. I just kind of went up with the essentials. My assumption was they'd lose my bag. I mean, not that I thought they would do it, but I didn't put anything important in those bags.
Right. So you finally get out on the bike ride around, 9 o'clock, 9:30?
Let's see, around 8:45.
Wow. Okay,
around
so
8:40.
you finally get out on the bike course, and how was the first few miles on the bike?
It's good. I mean, I was flying. First first thing out of the T1, you go over a bridge, go up a little hill, and then you are moving out, going down a hill for 2-3 miles. I mean, you are stepping it out. They wouldn't even let you go in aero bars down there. So it's nice, steep descent for, it's like 2 or 3 miles, but you're fine. A little sketchy, passing people at that speed. I'm going 45 and, some of these folks were going maybe 30. So, that closing speed, was perhaps a little dangerous. So, a little anxiety going down there, but, that was kind of a nice, fun first 5 miles of the race. And then, it kind of smoothed out.
How would you judge your bike handling skills opposed to a novice?
Well, I do an awful lot of mountain biking, so I think I got pretty good skills. I would have had no problem being in aero bars going down that descent at 50 miles an hour or whatever. But they specifically say don't go in your aero bars, and I'm good with it.
Right. So, did you have a nutrition plan for the bike ride?
Yep. So my plan was I had 2 water bottles with scratch.
Right.
So I was hoping to drain both of those during the race and not taking on one of the water bottles from the ones they hand out, because those don't fit in my bottle cases. They tend to fall off.
Right.
So every water stop, I would get one of those water bottles and drink half of it and toss it in the trash right there at the end of the water station. And that was enough to have those 2 scratch water bottles last me the whole race, because I needed about 3 water bottles to last me the whole race. So I got that third one by the 3 watering stations, drinking half a water bottle or whatever at those 3 water stations. And then my nutrition was every 20 miles, eating a gel. There was 2 climbs, and each one of those I ate as a reward 2 chews. Well, that's how I kind of break up the race with nutrition. And it's very similar to what I do during training. It just, you got to do that in training so you find out if those things are going to give you gas or something like that.
Right. Were you trying to hit a certain power, cadence, or heart rate number?
I was looking at an average speed. That's the only number I was working on. I didn't have a heart rate monitor. I had no watch. I just have a Garmin on my bike. I turn off the heart rate, change it over to average speed. So that's the only metric I used. So I was looking at 23.5 miles an hour, target goal. And I changed it during the race to 24, but that didn't meet it. I ended up getting a little over 23.5.
Right. What made you want to change it?
The fact that I didn't swim. So if there was a swim, my target would have been 23.5. But then I was feeling pretty good the first half of the race, and I was over 24 for a long time. And I was like, okay, let's shoot for 24. But it gave me something to shoot for during the race.
Right. I know the quality of the road here is really poor. Did you see a lot of flats?
Yeah, I saw more flats than I've ever seen in a race before.
Really? About how many do you think you saw?
I would say I saw about 30 people with flats.
30? Like 30?
30 to 40, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought I heard that wrong. I was like, man, that can't be right. And
really, Terry, the roads weren't that bad, I didn't think. There's some potholes. They were marked, but I thought the roads were actually pretty decent. But yeah, I couldn't believe how many flats there were. Could not believe it. I was shocked. I was just like, please don't be me. Please don't be me.
Right. That's all I think is whatever they hit, I hope they have it in their tire. And it's not here and I don't hit it. So,
and remember too is I was shocked at how many I saw, but remember how the dynamic of this race changed. I was starting behind 80% of the field, and those folks getting flats, that was there's a lot of people in front of me, and not necessarily fixing them within 5 minutes. Some of those people are probably out there for 20, 25 minutes trying to fix it.
Why do you think that is? I feel like, I know if I have a flat on race day, it will take me about 3.5, maybe 4 minutes from the time I stop. Like, it's not going to take too long. I'm not going to lose much time. Why do you think it takes some people so long?
I don't think a lot of folks are too experienced with changing them, haven't had them before, so the assumption is, I'm not going to have a race flat this time. So they, leave the spare and all that stuff. But yeah, you got to practice using those air compressors and, now like me with a disc wheel and a 90 millimeter, front rim, I've got a little more issue with valves and stuff. And if people aren't thinking right, then they're going to have to wait for somebody to drive by and neutral support to help them out. And, I was shocked at how many people fly there. It's funny you mentioned that, but
wow.
So
as far as the bike goes, is there anything you'd tell someone to be aware of that hasn't done this bike course before?
Yeah, the climbs really aren't huge unless you're from Florida or something, somewhere flat. But compared to Southern California, they're really not much to speak of. I don't think they exceeded the mile in distance, but they come and go pretty quick. The roads are pretty narrow, so passing people could get a little sketchy. You've got opposing traffic coming, so the opposing traffic is not closed off. So you got to be careful in some of these blind turns on that course. But yeah, passing was an issue. It wasn't really a clean course for me, but there was a lot of traffic on that course at times for me. And, my average speeds were probably a lot higher than most people out there. So there was just an awful lot of passing.
How did you know, being that you were going to be going pretty quick and you've been in the sport a little bit, how do you know how hard to push on the front side of the bike versus the later part of the bike ride? Yeah,
I just keep my eye on my instrument panel. Mainly, if my quads or hamstrings start feeling weird, I'll back off a little bit. Knowing what I could do, knowing what my speeds are in the flats, and how I'm feeling on hills. That's all I go by. I don't have any real metrics that tell me to slow down or speed up. I go as fast as I can. I go as fast as I can. That's reasonable. Understanding that I got a little bit of a run to do afterwards. So I push pretty hard on the bike.
Gotcha. Now, whenever you start getting closer to T2, are you doing anything to prepare to start running?
I'm fueling. I got my last gel because I don't eat again until mile 3.5 on the run.
Really?
So yeah. So I'm fueling prior to the run. That way, I get on the run course. I don't have to worry about eating or whatever. So finish that scratch. Finish that third gel. And praying I don't get a flat for the next couple of miles, and just thinking about getting out of my shoes and looking at my odometer, seeing how much I got left, and yeah, just looking at my metrics, my average speed and whatnot, seeing how I'm doing.
Okay, so you get to T2. How does T2 go for you?
Oh, I had a great spot in T2.
Oh, really?
So T2 is narrow but very long, about a quarter mile long and 3 or 4 racks wide. So it's very, very long and narrow. So if you are way out by the run exit, you have to run with your shoes and your bike all that quarter of a mile. If you are near run or bike in, like I was, 50 meters in, you only have to run 50 meters with your bike and your cycling shoes. You set that stuff up on a rack, put on your running shoes, and then you are running the rest of the length of that transition area.
That's nice.
So it is nice. I went there first to check it out the first day, and I thought my number was 2080 or something. So 2080 was way out there by Yaz, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna stink. And then I realized, oh wait, I'm 2820. And that was all the way down by the entrance, right near pro racks and stuff. Yeah, so that really worked out great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was huge.
So you get out on the run course. How the first few miles of the run course go?
Yeah, I kept up a good cadence on the run. I kind of like to maybe a little choppier than normal as far as strides go, but just keeping an eye on my instruments, my quads, my hamstrings, my breathing, cramping, gut, those are all that's kind of the instrument panel I'm focused on. to see if anything gets hot. So it took me about 3 miles to finally look over the dashboard and start running. So that the first 3 miles, I was just like, I don't know how my hammies feeling. I was a little concerned about my hamstring, and I forget which one, left or right side. But yeah, I ended up running through it. And I took a gel. I ended up taking a gel instead of at mile 3.5. I ended up taking it at like mile 2.5.
That's nothing to really stress over, though.
No, I was good. And, they were giving gels out on the course too if I needed one, but I was good.
And this course is also very shaded too.
Yeah, there's some parts that are out in the open. There's a couple miles out there in the open, but it is a good amount of shade out there. Yeah.
And it's along a little trail by a creek, right?
Yeah. So that start, all the people I didn't pass on the bike were out on the run course. And a lot of the people I passed on the bike were on lap 2 of the run course. So it was very crowded. And the trail is a lot of places the width of a car. You've got 1,000 people out on that course and opposing traffic and people going out trying to pass and people coming in trying to pass. It was a lot of traffic out there, akin to running in a shopping mall during Christmas season. It's kind of what it was like running out there. Yeah, and that's that TT swim start or TT bike start. Just that really got jammed up out there because a lot of the slowest waves started out on that bike from T1. And by the time they got out on the course, things started getting real crowded.
Wow. So you get to mile, say, 8 or so. You're clipping off some pretty quick miles here, right?
Again, I don't run with a watch. I was feeling okay. It was just not great, though. I broke that race, the run portion, into 4 races. It was 2 loops, and out in the back, and then out in the back. So I broke it down to out, 3 miles back, 3 miles out, 3 miles back. So that's kind of what mentally I was picturing it. Doing it 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and then full on. And that's how I broke my nutrition down as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So mentally, how hard was this race for you?
The biggest challenge, I know what to expect with my body and the biking and the run. The biggest challenge for me was actually the passing people.
Really?
Passing people on a bike, passing people on a run. Yeah, because on the bike there was a little more room and kind of generally stay to the right. But when you're running with opposing traffic, you're not necessarily staying to the right. So people were running down the middle of the path, and then you got oncoming traffic. It was just a really difficult run course for me. And Oceanside has some of the same problems, and it's down by the Strand. They got a couple sections that are real tight like that.
Where is this at?
Oceanside.
Oh, okay.
Oceanside. The 70.3 has a couple real tight spots that are hard to pass. So I make up. I'm not the best swimmer. I swim maybe 30 minutes. So if I'm going to get on the podium, I need to have a good run, and that's where I'll make up a lot of time. And I'll be with podium guys. They won't have too much of an advantage on the bike. A lot of them will beat me, but I think I can make up a lot of time on a run. So that was hard to do the other day.
Okay. So did you see anything funny on the run course?
Did I see anything funny? What did I see? I saw my old friend Todd. He always makes me laugh. He's a big Xterra guy.
Oh, really?
But I saw him. He was pretty cool. But yeah, no, I was just dealing with analyst, waiting to get to the finish.
Yeah.
Just kind of keeping my heads up and staying alert.
All right. So the last 800 yards of the finish, you get off of the trail. How was that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's always a great part. That last half mile or so. Yeah, that was nice. That was nice. It's nice streets and making that final left turn and seeing the finish line. Running past Russian River Brewery.
Yep.
I think you do run past it, don't you? Or just right near it. You're right near it. Actually, you're a block from it or something. But you can hear you hear the announcer and stuff like that, so that helps you come in a little quicker. And then getting in, it's nice welcome at the end. Couple cold water. I sweat a lot out there. I was really surprised at how much I sweat. It was a perfect day for racing, I thought.
Yeah.
Kind of got pushed to the right a little bit, a little further in the afternoon. But it was real good day. And great support. The typical Red Bulls and sodas and all that stuff you get in the tent. And they had a good lunch. But my stomach, I can't handle food for a while after I race. So.
How were the beer trucks and all of the post-race food?
Yeah. So they had Lagunitas there. Lagunitas is from Petal, they told me. And they had, I forget the name of that, like a Mediterranean bowl of rice. I forget what it's called. But that was really pretty good. But yeah, my stomach just can't take food for a while after I race like that. I drink all the Red Bull in the world, but
sugar's good, but anything else, not so much.
Yeah.
All right. So what's something that you learned from this race that you'd want to pass on to someone who hasn't done this race before?
What did I learn from this race? I would say I would probably have gone out on a track.
Really?
I would have gone out on the track a little more after a bike. Yeah, I usually Wednesdays are my track or trail days, so I would have done a track and track week, 3 or 4 straight weeks of track on Wednesdays, and would have foregone the trail. And I say that because the run course is general pancake flat. I think there's 167 foot elevation gain in it. So working that speed, that pure speed coming off the bike, I think is important here versus something like Ironman St. George in Utah. You want to get some hill work in for that. Not this course. I would have probably done a couple more track workouts and have 4 go on the trail. But I love running on the trail, so that would have been a hard one.
Oh, I mean,
but I think yeah. So that's how I would change that. That's how I would change my training next year is get a little more track time in.
Okay.
Like 1600s, 800s, 1600s, just work on a nice pure speed rhythm.
Okay. For first-timers doing this race next year, what advice would you give them?
Yeah. I would do a little hill work on a bike. They're not huge hills, but it might suck up a little energy from you. There's 2 decent hills. And definitely check out the course the day before. Drive the course. It'll only take you an hour. It's beautiful country. Unbelievably beautiful wine country out there. And you're not going to really see it while you're racing. You're going to be looking at the road and people in front of you. But, oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
So many wineries out there.
Yeah, it's nice. I wish I could have stayed a couple of days, but take a good view of the course, take a good view of the whole course, the bike, the swim, the transition area, lay up in bed the night before. And if you can't get to bed because you're restless, go from the minute you show up, image your way through that entire race from porta johns to putting on a wetsuit to swimming to getting out to getting on your bike. Just, the crowds, the hills, the way you're going to feel, the run, all that stuff. Image your way through it and stay positive the whole time. Prepare for a flat, but don't be, I'm going to get a flat. Stay positive the whole time. And I love that saying that Brooks has, run happy.
Yes.
Chrissy Wellington's, that's her things. With smiles, she'll sign her autograph with smiles. Chrissy Wellington, she always came across the finish with a smile. So you got to stay positive.
Okay. So we covered quite a bit about your race and went into a lot of details. Do you have anything else to add?
I love going out there and seeing my friends and whatnot. I was just surprised to see a lot of my old friends out there. And, Santa Rosa is not real close to San Diego, but I saw a lot of people from Southern California up there. It was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. And it was a good time. It was worthwhile. My first time there, I'd probably go back again. It's kind of a freak of nature with that fog, but I go back again. I'd like to take a crack at that course.
Right. So what's next for you?
I've got Chula Vista Challenge a week from Sunday. It's an international race. San Diego Classic in September. There's Xterra Trail Run Nationals in Ogden in September as well. So I'm not sure that those trail runs they're nice because you could get in at the last minute. It's not like an Ironman where you, should I do it? Is it $800? Should I do it a year before? I could maybe sign up for that one 2 weeks before and fly up to Ogden. Don't have to worry about carrying a bike or anything like that.
Yeah,
so I'm tempted to do that.
Yeah.
You get up there and you're like, man, what am I forgetting? And all you need is a pair of running shoes and a race belt. But I'm very familiar with that course out there, and I think I could do well on it. So that's September, and then a couple of local triathlons around San Diego. They got Rockin' Tri or something like that out here. And Mission Bay Tri, great little sprint down here. I love those races. And then December, I'll probably go out to Oahu for the Xterra Trail Run Worlds. And that'll be my season. And take a month off.
All right. So what races are on your bucket list?
That Xterra Trail Run Worlds is one of them.
Really?
Yeah. I'd really love to do that. I love trail running. And out there, that's a beautiful part of the world. Northern Oahu, up in the Kahukus. So yeah, that's one of my big ones. I've done the Honolulu Marathon a number of times. I'd like to get out there and do that again with my son. Yeah, those are the big ones. Those are the big ones.
Okay. So how can athletes follow you?
On Facebook.
Okay.
Where they could get behind me in a race. No drafting. It's funny, a guy got busted up for drafting off of me. First time I've ever seen anybody get busted for drafting, as far as an age grouper.
Really?
Yeah, so I passed him, and I passed the motorcycle first and then passed this guy. And a couple of minutes later, he was on my wheel. That motorcycle came up behind him, showed him a blue card.
Huh. Well, that's good that they're out there this time.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
Wow. So, John, I only have one more question left for you. And being that you listen to the show, you know that it's coming. What's your definition of a perfect race?
Definition of a perfect race for me is I'm happy during it. That's for me. Being happy on a course is a great race instead of being frustrated or angry. Or there's some races that turn me off, but being happy out there on a course, finishing strong, that's a perfect race. Just being happy, having a great disposition out there. I don't even have to finish first or anything, but it's just feeling good about yourself, feeling good about the day, and just running happy, racing happy.
That's awesome.
That's the perfect race. Yeah.
Well, John, I just want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
All right, Terry.
Letting me to know a little bit more about you. It's been great.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Terry.
Hey, you're welcome.
Good chatting with you.
You have a good day, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
We'll see you.
Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you were able to learn something from today's episode. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to leave a review on iTunes or share it with a friend. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to see pictures from this athlete's race, learn more about who I am, what I'm doing, or be on the show yourself to share your story, check out my website at CoachTerryWilson.com. Until next time, continue the pursuit.